Questions? Must be some more questions. Yes? Is that a question? No, scratching his head. Yes, Bill.
What more can be said on how fast industrial development in the 3 years to really meeting best case or backwards case?
It's probably an accurate statement. I mean, when you get facilities that are that large, it would obviously be a bit of a construction time. Plus, you gotta find the capital as well. So it's nothing that's going to happen, tomorrow. We all wish it could happen tomorrow, but it will take a little time. As I mentioned earlier, I know there's people in this room and elsewhere in the county that have been working very diligently to attract, industrial developers here. I mean, there's certainly a lot of people working. I think it takes like a whole kind of community-wide effort. It is a difficult thing. State incentives, local incentives, it's a complicated process. I mean, it's industrial, especially when you're talking about things that large, 1 million square foot and more. I mean, it's not like a Nassau County would be the only person that's trying to bait them in. I mean, there's a lot of people up and down the coast, port access or whatever, that are competing for these things. And that's another reason when you look at like a fiscal impact analysis or an economic analysis, I mean, you just can't give away everything. You got to make sure that it's going to be economically feasible at some point down the road. Maybe for 10 years it's equal, but then after that it's a great code. If nothing else, you obviously get usually higher paying jobs. You get the economic impacts of spin-offs, and it's always true is once you get one, it's easier to get another. Especially if you have like larger industrial complexes, industrial parks. You get one in there, they just kind of gravitate to each other. It's not like it won't come, maybe not even come overnight after that, but it will be easier. So I mean, it's a longer process, and that's not tomorrow, but it's certainly, when we look at the numbers and we look at what other counties have been able to do, it certainly seems like something reasonable that Nassau County should be able to do as well.
I think I can say that the Nassau County Economic Development Board is working overtime to bring in industrial users into Crawford Diamond. And, there's always 2 or 3 on the hook. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. But we have a full slate of possibilities for Crawford Diamond. We just need that hit, that big hit. And it's coming. Other questions? Yes, Dan?
Brian, did your analysis include anything about secondary impacts? So let's say you have a 1 million square foot industrial site show up and it employs 500 people, just pick a number. Did your analysis look at, those folks go out and buy gasoline, those folks buy clothes, those folks hire an accountant, those folks buy insurance? Did any of your assessment look at the secondary impacts from that employment?
We've definitely looked at that a lot over the years, and it certainly is a pretty big impact. And it kind of goes in what I was saying a while ago. Once you get the industrial complex there, and a company that comes in, they have jobs that generally pay above average wages, and they go out into the community, they buy houses. They stop by the store on the way home and they shop for groceries. They shop for other things. That helps the small business person in the community receive extra income themselves. And then just from the company itself, from the construction process especially, I mean, there's obviously going to be an enormous amount of concrete for one. It's going to be needed to build all that. That'll come locally in the county because you can't transport that very far. Other things as well during the construction process would also be all locally within Nassau County. And once it's built, things such as gasoline with shipping and things like that with trucks, also impacts to the port possibly. If they needed to export, import, or whatever the thing would be. There's a whole, it's not just the $37 million that I showed up there would be an average for 1 million square foot of an industrial complex. It's much greater than that. It's the economic impacts, the jobs, all the secondary jobs, the economic output, the additional wages that go with it. So it's really, it's a whole package that's a little bit even greater than what I showed up there.
Yes, Steve?
So trying to put together Shayna's presentation on where the county is now fiscally and where we might be as a county in 2, 3, 4 years, given some hits on industrial development? Do we have a short-term fiscal problem, or is it a long-term problem?
I think it's a short-term problem. The next 2 or 3, 4 years are going to be difficult. But if our planning works out, Crawford Diamond, East Nassau, etc., there ought to be a fair amount of taxpayers coming in, industrial and commercial taxpayers coming in the next couple of years. As you know, there's that lag time. So what I would say is we have 2 or 3 difficult years, and then we're going to be in the sunshine.
So then, what gets us through the next 2 or 3 years?
That's a very good question. I don't have a ready answer for that. Yes, sir.
What about an audit on the properties that the county owns that are just sitting there that may be able to sell the next 2 or 3 years that they don't need or don't see they'll ever need? I know there's properties around that probably could sit there, and if you could put them in the tax base, because they get taxed on plus a few $1 million out of them over the next, that may be something to audit and look at.
I have no idea what that number might be. You may.
What I can tell you is that we've looked, we maintain a list of all county-owned properties, and we've had to look at it at various times when we were looking at, expanding service levels. Other than the current sheriff's administration area, which they're getting a new building, should be moved in by the end of the year. Other than that property, there's not a whole lot of property we have that would be significant. I mean, there's small parcels here and there all over the county, but they wouldn't have a whole lot of value to us. And the fear is eventually as services expand, you need additional locations, and it's always going to cost you more later to purchase property at, a later date. So it's definitely something we could look into, but that's all the information I can give you at this point.
There's a question over here, David.
Bob, I was going to tell you, about 12 years ago, the county did a full survey of all county-owned properties. I don't think they ever done that comprehensively before. And all of the residential lots that were of any value, the county sold them on a bid basis. Any that were irregular lots, particularly in the city, the Permian, went to the city and worked out a plan that they could be used for habitat for the humanities, but that's part of the comp plan. Here, still, a lot of properties still on that we used to.
I wish we had a lot of them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Steve had asked a question, and you said it was a short-term problem, but isn't it only really a short-term problem for citizens of Nassau County? A, want this kind of development, and B, try to go out and get it? Because if we slam the doors shut and we don't want anything coming in, then nobody's gonna come, and then we've got a bigger problem. Then it's a long-term.
Then we have a long-term problem.
Yeah.
Now, we have to change some of our...
There yet, though, is in terms of.
We are there vis-a-vis properties that can be developed. 3 years ago, we didn't have any properties could be developed. We didn't have anything to offer new business coming in. We had no spec buildings. Now we have plenty of property, 27,000 acres, between Crawford Diamond and East Nassau. And the Economic Development Board is doing a good job lining up potential buyers. So I think we're on our road to diversification, which we have to do. And the people in the county are going to have to figure there's only one other alternative if we don't do it that way. That's higher taxes, and no one wants that. Yes?
My question's for Brian. In your analysis, how significant on those numbers is the impact of tourism? Because it's a significant part of our economy here locally, but when we go through the next recession, there are some things in tourism that you can control. Thank you, Gil. And there are some things in tourism that you can't control, and that may be the macro economy. So how much of an impact did that have in your analysis?
Well, I think tourism is, it's obviously an important thing, and I don't think anyone's saying, you know, roll up the beaches and do away with all the sand. I mean, that's definitely, it's an important thing for this county, but there's no reason you can't do both. You know, when we look in our analysis, it's, you know, it's certainly a big part of it. It does supply a lot of sales taxes, a lot of property taxes, a lot of visitors, additional economic spending in the county. It's a very important thing, but there is no reason why you can't have that and have industrial development as well.